want to talk about our eyes and how the summertime and our eyes, how they work together or what the dangers are. If you'll remember last year when we were thinking about, last year at this time, everybody was getting excited about the August total eclipse. And one of the conversations we had was with Dr. Frederick Fraunfelder, and he was here to talk about the eclipse. And he's back with us again because I think we should not just think about summer sun in our eyes when it's going to disappear. We should have it in our mind at other times, should we not, Doctor?
Yes, I agree with you as always.
Let's talk about what the concerns are. So, what does the summer sun? What can it do to our eyes?
It does a number of things. I suppose I would break it up into damage from UV light and then damage from chronic UV light, because the sun is ultraviolet rays, and ultraviolet rays does some great things for our body. It helps us release vitamin D and gives us elevated moods, but it also can do some damage if it's too much acutely or if it's too much chronically.
So how important is it to have eye protection during the summer? I think that's the bottom line that people are going to ask about from this segment so what do we need to know about protecting our eyes?
I don't want to be a fearmongerer, so it's not, the end of the world if you don't wear sunglasses, but in general, I think it's good to limit your exposure to harmful ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B rays as much as possible. So buying sunglasses that are marked that they block that type of light, and usually it's a more expensive sunglass. It's not the kind you buy over the rack at a convenience store, but it's the kind you might pay a little bit extra for. But that has been proven to lower the risk of getting cataracts. Maybe it might contribute to having less risk of getting macular degeneration, and it definitely will lower your risk of getting eye cancers, because there are actually some eye cancers you can get from ultraviolet light.
Really? And so the ultraviolet lights come in A and B? Is that what you said? So when I looked at sunglasses in the old days, it would say polarized, I think. Is that the word that was used? Polarized glasses or something? What does that mean, if anything, anymore?
Polarized isn't the same as ultraviolet A and B. And, sometimes you ask me questions and I think you already know the answer. So I'm just...
I don't know the answer to this one. I don't know what polarization means. I just know that when I've looked at glasses and it says 100% polarization or something like that, I'm thinking, I don't know what that means. It sounds good to me.
It basically is a type of lens that allows light to enter into your eyes at a different angle. So you may wear a polarized lens to see the fish in the water, for instance, but it doesn't block ultraviolet light. They're just two different things.
So are they labeling glasses now, or do you have to ask? I guess there would have to be some way, because if I manufactured glasses that protected from those ultraviolet lights, I'd sure want consumers to know.
Yeah, absolutely. We almost always have a label on the sunglasses, and then also the people at Mizzou Optical, for instance, at the University of Missouri, very knowledgeable about what types of lenses and we can make sunglasses for you that are prescription sunglasses. You don't have to just buy them off the rack.
I have prescription sunglasses because I have prescription glasses, but I don't know if they protect me from the right rays or not.
They don't. David, they don't protect you. I'm looking at your glasses now.
Well, I don't mean these. I'm talking about the other sunglasses that I have, because I have a different pair. I don't have which leads me to a question that I wanted to ask. If I had, what are those that go from clear to dark, and they change when I go out into the sunshine? If I had those kind of glasses, which I don't, because I didn't go for that, I have to actually physically change glasses. What's that called, though? The transition glasses, I guess.
See, there you go again. Asking me a question, you know the answer.
Are they good, though? Can they provide that kind of protection that you're talking about if they are transition glasses?
Usually the transition glasses don't have the UV built into them. So you'd have to ask your eyeglass producer or manufacturer to do that for you.
So sunglasses that do provide that, do they come in all different shades? Because people can look at sunglasses, and I know that some are kind of like a gray tint. Some are what I would call a brown tint, and I don't know what other type. Well, some are mirror glasses. Is it possible to get the right protection no matter what the actual color of the...
Yes.
Good lenses?
You can definitely do that. It just comes at a cost. And you can protect 10% of the UV rays, or you can prevent 90%. It just depends on the type that you get. So you can quantitate how much you're blocking.
And you would say you would advise to get as much as you could. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, why? I guess it kind of goes back to like the sunscreen factors that you see. Why would you buy one that would only provide 10% if you could get one that would provide 70, 80, 90%?
Right. Well, when we watched the eclipse, remember when we had the eclipse here in Columbia, we had these eclipse glasses, which blocked out all of the harmful UV rays. And you could stare at the eclipse through these glasses because it blocked them all, but you also couldn't see anything else, right?
I see where you're going with that.
You couldn't see anything unless it was a bright sun staring into your glasses. So it does block out natural light as well a little bit.
In your research and in other research, does it matter what color your eyes are? For example, I have brown eyes. Your eyes are a bluer color or a different kind of paler color. Does that matter how well we can manage the sun based on what our eye color is?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And the answer is a yes, a soft yes. In general, it doesn't for the vast majority of people. But we can predict that, for instance, melanomas that occur on the eye usually occur in lighter colored irises. And you don't see melanomas as much in a dark-colored iris. So if you have light blue eyes or a pale green eyes, you might be more likely to get sun damage to the iris, the color part of your eye, than a person that has dark brown irises. So, yeah, it is predictive in that way. But again, melanomas of the iris are very rare, maybe 1 in a million. So it's not a super big risk.
Is the damage to an eye cumulative? Is the effect cumulative? Let's say that I start out very young and I'm out in the brightest sun and I'm not got any protection of my eyes. Is it more likely that the problem would occur in that kind of a person than person who wasn't out in the sun that much?
Yes, absolutely. A lifetime of sun exposure is definitely a higher risk for you to develop sun-related damage. And again, I think those sun-related eye problems would primarily be cataracts, eye cancers, or premalignant lesions that occur on and around the eye. And then possibly also maybe a higher risk of macular degeneration, although we're not sure there's a cause and effect relationship between sun and...
What's the earliest that you would say something has shown up that you would say this is sun damage to an eye that I have to repair now?
Well, people get snow blindness or an acute reaction to ultraviolet light highly concentrated on the eye. So sailors, for instance, or people that go out on the ocean for the whole day, light reflects off the water into their eyes, and they get a lot of damage from that. So that's an acute thing that occurs from the sun, or reflect off the snow and burn their corneas, essentially. And that's painful, and you get blurry vision. It heals within a day, though.
Really?
Yeah, that heals very, very quickly.
I have noticed, I'm going to make this personal here, within the last month or so, there are times when I have been exposed to extremely bright light. I'm talking sunshine light. And it doesn't disorient me, but it more so than in the past seems to have impacted my equilibrium or something like that. Is that normal?
I don't know if that's normal. I hope that's normal. It doesn't sound super concerning, but
yeah. Those moments where you come around a corner, let's say you're driving in an unfamiliar place or you're walking or something, and all of a sudden you come around a corner and you're not prepared for it, and pow, your mind is always saying, don't look at the sun, but you find yourself in that split second. Those are not going to be generally or usually damaging other than just the temporary discomfort.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that we can sustain a split second or even a slightly more of staring directly at a bright light. It's the people that do sun gazing, and there are sun gazers. There are people that stare at the sun.
I think you told me this last year when
Yeah.
I talked to you. Yeah.
It happens, and we see it every year, and they burn a hole in their retinas. And they do it for whatever spiritual reason they do it for, but it does damage the eye. So staring at the sun or staring at high-intensity light is not a good idea.
See, that just makes me uncomfortable just to hear you say that. So what's the bottom line as we wrap this up? What should people hear from conversation about, it's not just the summer sun. there are angles of the sun in the fall and in the spring that I think are different, that annoy people more. And like you just said a little while ago, in the wintertime off the snow or something like, I mean, it could be any time, but I think we think about it more in the summer because maybe we're out more, or we got the longer days and the sun seems to be brighter, maybe just because we feel hotter. But what's the bottom line?
The bottom line is that in the summertime, don't buy any fireworks.
All right.
We didn't talk about that at all, but I would say that's a far bigger problem that we see is blindness from fireworks here in Missouri.
Holding them too close and they explode, or just looking at why?
The whole variety of things that people do with fireworks, especially bottle rockets, and I'd say the number one thing that damages eyes is sparklers, because you give sparklers to children and they wave them around in front of their buddy's face, and it is a high intensity heat, and they put it right in their buddy's eye and burn it. And we see tragedies one after another right after 4th of July. So that's the take home message, I think, for the summer is fireworks, just don't. I have a no firework policy in my family. I have 4 kids, and they know that we don't bring them around and we don't hang out with people that have them, because there will be a number of blind people in mid-Missouri that occur after this 4th of July.
Well, that's a sad note, but it's one that we can prevent.
Yeah.
Don't get around the fireworks. All right. Well, sorry we took a while to get to that, but I appreciate everything else that you had to say.
We buried the lead, David.
I know. I was just thinking. I was thinking summer sun. I wasn't even thinking fireworks, but that gives you an idea that I don't buy them either. Don't have them around. Haven't had them around my family for years. Always good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Have a good summer.
Thank
Dr. Frederick Fraunfelder from the University of Missouri, ophthalmologist there and professor at the MU Healthcare at MU Medical School, has been our guest. It's News Talk 1400 KFRU.